Good evening once again. Welcome to our 67th edition here in the Issues Room, Volcano Shelton, coming to you live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's going to be another powerful one. We have one important guest in the house today, and the conversation going to be a very wonderful one. We'll be discussing Liberia and his desire to lead that country, because we all know where the country is right now. He will be giving us an analysis of where the country is and how he's going to change the country's image in the international community. The Issues Room comes away on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a repeat on ABC Radio, FM 105.1 in Monrovia, Liberia. We also have our broadcast on Friday. We want to welcome all of you, our viewers everywhere. We don't have no time here tonight to waste. And I want to go straight to Delaware and welcome Moses Sandy. Moses, good evening. Welcome from your end. You look very, relaxed?
Very nice. Yes. The hustle continues, right, Rob?
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure, being in the issues room with you. And let me say, good evening, depending on where you are. Let me say also, welcome to our many viewers and listeners globally. Welcome to the issues room. We have come to discuss the issues that matter most in the Liberian community.
Thank you,
And
Moses.
today,
Let's move quick.
bringing one of the
Because
presidential hopefuls.
I want to quickly run to Vonjaman Lofa County, where our
Yeah.
correspondent is Abraham Colley. He's out there covering the bi-senatorial elections, or for
Mhm.
that one seat. Is it bi or what is it now? Because I don't even know.
Yeah,
Or is
is
it
the
just
by is the by election. By election.
okay? And that's for the Brownie Sambukai seat. Abraham, are you there?
Right.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Shelton, and Mr. Good morning, good evening, good
Yeah.
afternoon to those who follow you, and Mr. Good evening or good morning as well to Mr. Cindy, and thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
me from Kuala Town, Lofa County.
Oh, I told you were in Vonjaman. So apparently you're going around the county, right?
Yes, I left Vonjama day before yesterday evening in the Kulahun district. Currently, I'm in Kulahun.
Great, great. So tell us what is it like now? How many candidates are vying for Brownie Sambokai's seat, and what is the momentum? Who's looking like they they're in the lead? And when I say in the lead, meaning from the crowd,
Thank
even
you
though
very
the
much. It's
elections
a
next
pleasure.
week.
So, thank you very much once more for the opportunity. There are 6 candidates vying for the post. You got 5 males and a lone female. The 5
Wow.
males include Counselor Joseph Pato Jara an independent who has been embraced by the CDC. And you got former superintendent of Lofa County, Karapat Kotima, who is on the Unity Party ticket. And you got District Number 4 Representative Ono Mariamu Bien Fofana as an independent as well. You have Dr. George B. S. Sama, an independent who is also a current lawmaker of District Number 12, Montserrat County. You have former Senator Smo Karakpa Kupi as well, who is contesting on the People's Unification Party ticket PUP. And you have Momo Tanu Kwali Cyrus, who is also an independent candidate, and the CEO of Siga Liberia as well.
Wow.
And so these are the 6 persons that are vying for the post. And you got out of the 6 persons, as per my own analysis, that there are 2 main forces in the entire election, because not so much the popularity, because people say, election time, people go and mobilize so that at least they can get crowd behind them, but the crowd is not intended for that person alone. So it's like a jihad wisdom campaign. People are moving to the people, telling them what they are capable enough of doing in terms of replacing Samuka, while Lofa County people stands to benefit are the issues they are putting forth on the agenda, convincing the minds of the people. So as we speak, currently there are uh, three candidates now. As per my survey that I've conducted, the independent candidate, district number 4 representative, which is a lone female candidate, Representative Mariam Fofana. You got uh, Counselor Jara, who has been embraced by the CDC, and that of the Unity Party candidate, Karagba Kotima. So these are the three factors in the upcoming election that is slated for June 28th in Lofa County for the senatorial post.
So, quick question to you: of the three candidates, which of them name is actually resonating right now with the people?
Well, the three candidates that the three names I just listed are the three names that people are now comparing and contrasting when it comes to the issue of development and so forth, or the issue of the election. Because like I just stated, each of those towns you enter, as soon you make this candidate start to explain, people will say, me and I'm follow one, me and follow one, me and I'm follow one, me and follow one. So,
So
and
quickly, how the
it will
superintendent, the
take
former
that time.
superintendent, last question, yeah. How the former superintendent, that there was at one point superintendents were eating the county development fund, So is that coming up on this candidate?
No, no, it's not coming up. But at the time he was superintendent, according to information, there was a guy who got missing, and then that issue reached to him. It was not addressed in a proper manner. Also, present, they haven't yet resolved the issue. So I think it's one of the major things that is breaking him down, because at the time he was sitting superintendent, the situation occurred and the county needed his intervention at the time to speak on behalf of the family, and then he failed to do so. So I think with the issue of maybe stigmatizing or whatsoever, because it's him up in business, like people may say, so far so good, that's the only thing. But to be honest, according to them again, on the other hand, that he haven't done nothing for the people. He haven't do anything that development that people can point out and say, yeah, it was doing his regime. This thing happened. It was doing this. Kalaba Kwatima regime as superintendent of Lover County stand a chance to get this from the government of Kalaba Kwatima ever maybe provided such assistance to some of the communities as well. But now hiding behind former Vice President Joseph Waka on a unit party ticket. Is the only thing he see, is the only alternative he see to hang on, because people don't have trust in him. They don't see him as a face. It's only, he's not that kind of person who understands legislative politics or the legislative workings as well. So, it's lots of things.
All right,
But
So,
Abraham. We'll come back to you on Friday.
no,
Hopefully, you will gather more
avocado.
information. Moses, we're running out of time.
Yeah,
Moses, we're running out of
quickly.
time. We'll
No, for
come
the
back on
sake of
Friday.
fairness,
Moses will come back on Friday.
for the
We'll
sake
come
of
back on
fairness,
Friday. Moses, we'll come back on Friday. We'll keep our guests
yeah,
backstage.
okay,
Thank
okay.
you, Abraham. Thank you so much for your time. Friday, we'll follow up with you. We'll bring you back here because we'll be closer to Tuesday next week. Let's go straightly now and bring our guest. Thanks for your patience. Counselor Gongloe, Tiawan S. Gongloe, you're live. We want to thank you so much for honoring our invitation here in the issues room. Uh, you know, it's important to have a prominent Liberian like you who are you there with us? Are you following
I'm
me?
here.
Okay, great, great.
You don't see me?
Yeah, we see you. Take a sip. Take a sip. Okay. Clear your throat.
All right.
You're in the issues room.
But I
So
know Volcano, Shelton, and Moses Sandy
thank you so much. Thank
very
you.
well from Monrovia. They are not
Yeah,
easy journalists.
yeah. So it's good to have you
Thank
in the
you,
room here with
Gunla.
us.
It's a
And
pleasure to have you.
I didn't want to keep you back there too long. Our correspondent from Lofa County, He was covering some of the issues trending right there, and I'm sure you heard some. So
But it
maybe
was good for me to know too, so because all of us are interested in what will happen in Lofa County.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
We got to say, if the Christmas will be good, you want to know what will happen on the eve of the Christmas. We are
Yeah.
all looking
yeah.
we're looking forward to 2023. So we want to see what the Elections Commission will do in the Lofa election.
Yeah.
That's
That's
true.
true.
But
Yeah.
just before we begin this conversation, we wanted to give you an opportunity to just do a snapshot of you. I know that you are a very prominent and popular Liberian, but for the diaspora in the world, it is important that you let the world know who is Tiawan S. Gongloe, vying for the presidency of our country, the first independent country on the continent of Africa. And once you tell us that, then my first question to you, and then Moses will come in. I'm just putting it to you would be why you want to be president of Liberia.
Okay, I want to
And,
even answer in the first.
and
Okay,
Counselor, let me just say this before you come in. We could have presented you to the public, but we thought that it would be good for the people to hear from the horse's mouth. That's why we want to give you the lead. Tell our people globally, including Liberians, who is Counselor Tiawan Gongloe, and why do you want to be president of Liberia? Welcome.
Counselor Tiawan Gonglo is a lawyer whose practice of law has been in the area of human rights. I've defended journalists, media institutions, political activists, and other Liberians who have been politically challenged and brought to court by government. I've been a lawyer for 34 years. In Liberia, I'm called a poor man's lawyer. For my work, I've had all kinds of accolades, mainly from the media institutions. I believe that maybe there might be few newspaper uh, that have not given me awards. I've been named Man of the Year, Lawyer of the Year, Human Rights Advocate of the Year, all of that. I've been in Liberia for most of my life, except for the 3 years that I was in exile in the United States when I had problems with Taylor because of speaking truth to power and representing people like you and human rights advocates. I come from Glaze-Opie, a town deep in the forest of Nimba County, located in the Yawamesnon Statutory District in Nimba County. It's about 200 miles away from Monrovia. I went to school in Nimba, starting at Mela Public School, Kanta Public School. I attended school in Tapeta. I graduated from San Nicolas St. Mary's High School, and then came to Monrovia. I obtained a degree in economics in 1981, and then I obtained another degree in law in 1987. For 34 years, I've been practicing law. And as I told you, on the human rights side, but also I've had my experience in government. I've been an advocate of good governance for a long time, speaking truth to power, speaking against corruption, speaking against violation of human rights and lack of respect for the rule of law by various governments. So I've had my chance to test my commitment to these principles in government. I served as executive assistant to Dr. Amos Sawyer for 4 years, a very challenging time trying to bring peace to our country. I also served as Solicitor General. And then I served as Minister of Labor. The story is well known, it will be recorded in history, that I resigned from President Salif's government after about 1.5 years of service in government because of policy differences, largely based on her failure to fight corruption, consistent with her commitment that she would maintain zero tolerance for corruption. So I resigned. And I've been practicing law. I resumed the practice of law. And then for 3 years, I served as president of the Liberian National Bar Association. And I'm very proud of my service there because all the lawyers in Liberia, there's not one that will say I did not lift the bar up to a higher standard ever since its formation in 1907. So this is Counselor Gongloe.
And why you want to be president?
I want to be president because there are two aspects of governance that has been difficult for past governments to meet and is more accentuated under this government. Lack of respect for the rule of law and human rights. Just abiding by the laws that are made by the legislature. In Liberia today, you will bear with me that there is selective application of the law right in the street. Some people commit traffic offense, they go by. Others commit it and the police get hard on them. It permeates every aspect of law enforcement. Then the judiciary is not independent. Even the current Chief Justice has said the judiciary is corrupt. And the former Chief Justice, Johnny Louis, said the judiciary is corrupt. That is a statement that has been made for a long time in our country. But why is the judiciary corrupt? The corruption of the judiciary and the lack of commitment to enforcement of law in a way that would create public trust in the governance of our country is largely based on the big hands in government. You know, they promote selective application of the law, as I was saying with the police. The same thing. People in the executive branch of government influence the law enforcement and the judiciary. And then there's pervasive corruption, which is abuse of office. Government is a place to serve and not to steal. As a result, the development of Liberia has been delayed, has been hindered by lack of respect for the rule of law and pervasive corruption. Today, all of our partners are saying the same thing. Leonard Thomas Greenfield, former ambassador to Liberia, said corruption takes food from the mouths of the people, of the children. Ms. Bent, who represented Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, said the same thing. The current United States ambassador in Liberia says the same thing. And then others have said it. One congressman called our country a kleptocracy. I am coming based on my credential, my track record of committing myself to respecting the rule of law and human rights and not being corrupt for the time I've served government, to come to government in order to transform governance in Liberia so that we can have a better Liberia, because a better Liberia is indeed possible.
So, Counselor, you have spoken about a lot of critical issues in Liberia. And that seems to suggest that you're trying to draw a distinction between you and the others. If you were to tell the world today and the people of Liberia, what are the distinctions between you and the other candidates and George Weah? What makes you different from them?
I'm totally different. There's nothing to compare me, with the other candidates. There's no standard that you can use to compare me. First, I'm a lawyer. None of them is a lawyer to begin with. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I've been an advocate against bad governance my whole life. From the time I was in school at the age of 22, I have never been silent on any Liberian issue. All of them have been silent. During the Treaty Party, we didn't hear their voices. I believe George Weah was a little boy, so I don't expect him to speak during the Treaty Party. During the regime of Doe, with the human rights abuses, we didn't hear the voices of the other candidates. I was beaten on university campus in 1984 when Doe sent the soldiers on campus and said, move or be removed. I ended up at the S.G. Cooper Hospital with blood all on my head. I was beaten and stripped. Honor Taylor for standing up for you journalists, for speaking truth to power, for defending the poor, and saying things that people were afraid to say about the governance of Liberia. I was arrested by President Taylor, detained and severely tortured overnight. That after that, for about 3 months, I couldn't walk. My kidneys were damaged. I had to leave the country, go to Ghana, take some treatment, and come to the United States in exile. I spent 3 years in exile. I could have died many times for Liberia. I have always put Liberia first, not just by speaking about it, but putting my life on the line. Nobody in this election can come near there. And my witnesses are Liberians. They know that because they stood up for me, especially Honor Taylor when I was put in jail with the ATU and SOD, and thousands of people came to the police station, free Counselor Gongloe. And when I was put at the SD Cooper Hospital, over 2,000 Liberians were sleeping around the hospital every day until the hospital got shut down. The poor people stood up with me because they know that I've been a defender with my life all of the time. It is because of that that Human Rights Watch gave me one of the highest awards in 2003. A. Philip Randall Institute, the biggest black labor movement in America, gave me the highest the award, the Bayer Rustin Freedom Award. I have received awards and recognition for my work. There is no comparison. Me and the other people are not in the same category. They are politicians seeking power. Me, I'm an advocate that is seeking the transformation of Liberia based upon the principles I believe in, and I'm prepared to do it in my life. I'm not comparing myself with Mandela, but Mandela is my idol. He stood up and was prepared to die for what he believed for South Africa. There are many instances where I could have died. Look, I was at Columbia University in 1990. And then Dr. Sawyer called me and said, I've been elected in Banjul. Come, let's go to Liberia. I was in New York. And everyone said, why go to that country? I said, I do not know how to answer my conscience tomorrow if I'm asked, why is it when you are called during the difficult time of our lives as a country to leave New York and come to Liberia, why you didn't come? I couldn't. And so I obliged. I went to Liberia on a very difficult time. So there is nothing that is in the path of the past of those who are contending and myself that compares. We are two different people in terms of our life paths.
Let me come in quick, Counselor. You know, we continue to hear the cry of corruption in our country, and it is the prime reason why this country is where it's at today. Lately, presidents have come in declaring that corruption will be the public enemy number one. Started with your former boss, who you fell apart with on the same corruption issues because she failed to address it, as she mentioned. Mr. Weah comes, he says he will tackle it. Liberians won't be spectators in their own economy. And we're going back to the same term, corruption. And a lot of our political candidates come fighting, using corruption as the tool to gain votes and to become leaders of the country. You are not a rich man. From all records we know, Tiawan is not a rich man. If Tiawan comes to power tomorrow, it means that he has access to the Liberian people money in the millions. Like Weah does today, he can just celebrate and do the buka dance and go low and do all these things. Tiawan Gongloe comes to power. Do you think that it is not possible, because history is going to judge you tomorrow if you were president, and this interview will be here years from now? Do you think that it's not possible as a human being to sway? Because sometimes you may come with a good intent, but you have the people around you that driving this. It's their interest. Those same people who are in the camp with you now, their interests are different from that of yours. And sometimes you may cave in. Don't you see yourself becoming corrupt when you see the Liberian people millions?
No.
Okay.
It is said that practice makes perfect. I am 65 years old now, going 66. I have not been corrupt. And I have not only been a critic of bad governance, I have served in government myself too. And there's no record. And I challenge anyone in Liberia and in the airspace to say Counselor Gongloe is corrupt. So if I've not been corrupt, I serve in the executive mansion with the president. Something called influence peddling. Some people can use their proximity to the president to make millions of dollars. I didn't do that when I was.
Gongloe, please go small to your centralized. Thank you, sir.
I didn't do that when I was young in my early 30s. I did not do that. In fact, I have a story that I need to tell. I traveled one time for 20 days, and I will give him $4,500 as per diem. And I achieved the mission as presidential envoy in 10 days. I returned and gave the money, the balance, $2,250 to a minister, Francis Capper, who was Minister of Finance. He was arguing me, no, that per diem. I said, no, I cannot justify the other 10 days' money. And then finally, he took it, deposited, and gave me receipt the next day. This is just part of my story. And people who work with me at Justice and at Labor Ministry will tell you. People who work with me in the bar will tell you. Many times I've traveled. In fact, my first trip to Nigeria, nobody there looking. The bar gave me $1,000. When I got there, all of my hotel bills, food, everything was taken care of by the African Bar Association, except for one trip I took from Abuja to Lagos, and the one night I spent there, I got a receipt. I spent $183. I brought $817 back to the bar. They were surprised. And that was how I behaved as president of the bar all through, because I know integrity is doing what is right when nobody is looking. That has been me. I'm loyal to my conscience and my country, and I will never cheat. I will never betray my conscience. I will never betray my country. I will never cheat my country. So it's my track record. I challenge any contender to boastfully speak of his past as I do. I don't, so I would do exactly that. But let me tell you, I have prescription that will make it difficult. Even, and I can tell you my prescription for combating corruption. So it's not just.
And what would that be? What would be your prescription?
Good. It is secrecy that promotes corruption, stealing government. So here is my prescription. As president, I will declare my assets. And when I declare my asset, I will publish it on the internet, on the government website, and in all the leading newspapers in Republic of Liberia. I will require the same of people that I appoint in government. Not only that, my salary and benefits and the salary and benefits of all officials of government, including government employees down to the janitor, will be published on government website. So you journalists can know their assets and to know how much they are making. Now, here is the catch. When we declare that, I will institute what I call periodic lifestyle audit. Every quarter, there will be lifestyle audit. There will be 4 lifestyle audits during the year. So I will start with the office of the president. When after 3 months, an auditor will come to me, the president, just for example, this is your salary, this is your asset declaration. We know your total value does not exceed $50,000. How can you account? And I'd like to show that because President Topman had a yacht. How can you account for MV Tiawan Gongloe that is parked at a free port and is estimated to be $1 million United States dollars? If I can explain that, I will resign. The auditor will say, please tell the Liberian people where you got that money from. And I cannot explain because the code of conduct says that no government official should receive any gift beyond the value of $250. I will not resign because I will not do such disgraceful and shameful thing. So I will require that of my ministers. If the auditors come and say, 5 ministers are building houses that value from 200,000 to 500,000, 3-story, 4-story, 5-story buildings all over the place, and we asked them and they couldn't explain, President Gongloe immediately dismissed them and turned them over to the LACC for further investigation and prosecution. When we do that and we seize people's properties while we put them in jail to serve their prison term for 5 years to 10 years, I think it will have a chilling effect on corrupt people. Let me tell you, the government does not make anyone corrupt. People are already corrupt and they come into government. I know that from experience that there is no mosquito in Liberia that bites anyone to be corrupt when you enter government. People enter government and their true nature is revealed when they have that opportunity with all the resources there, and then they abuse office by stealing. So I said to Liberian people, anybody who are not serving Liberian government and resisted the temptation of taking money is not qualified to be our president. I don't care what government you serve, you can serve UN and whatever. If you are not served in the government of Liberia and refused to get corrupt, then you are not qualified. They say, what our people can say in fact, in simple English in all our languages, they say when you say I can plant a very beautiful mat, what they can say, show me the old one first for me to trust you that you can plant a new one. I am telling Liberian people, my old man, the executive marshal working with Dr. Sawyer, the Solicitor General Justice Ministry, Minister of Labor, President of the Bar Association. Let them check that. I can plant much better mat because I've been planting mats all through my life for the Liberian people in different ways. And I believe that a better Liberia is possible under my administration.
So, Counselor, let me ask you this question. Hypothetically, if you were to win the presidency of Liberia, where a Counselor Gongloe administration prosecute George Weah and the others in the CDC that are literally looting the country?
We will follow. Look, I will not compromise the rule of law.
Okay.
Whatever the Liberian law provide, and I teach criminal law and criminal procedure law, so I know what I'm talking. And then I've applied criminal law and criminal procedure law as Solicitor General.
Mhm.
So I will do. Let there be no mistake. Let there be no doubt. I will rigorously apply the law of Liberia, putting Liberia first. That's
Will
what.
you prosecute Mr. Weah? That's the question.
So, Article 61 of the Constitution, I have to be honest to say that unless the president of Liberia is removed from office, he cannot be prosecuted for what he did while he was in office. But you know what?
Mhm.
He may not go. People around him, the Minister of Finance, all the other people around him may not go free because we will do proper investigation. Because the law requires the GSC does periodic report. We will see the reports from the GSC and we'll act on the reports appropriately. And to see whether money that was spent on President Weah's administration was spent consistent with the public finance law, consistent with the procurement law, and all the other laws that promotes integrity in government.
I just want to tie this in quickly, Moses. So then the
go ahead.
TRC recommendations, do you stand by those recommendations and will you implement it if you were president?
I don't have money, but one of the things that I'm known for in Liberia and that you yourself know me for is consistency. My views on accountability, including accountability for war crimes and economic crimes, are very clear. I cannot depart from it, but I think you just want reassurance.
Okay.
So you coming in, Moses?
Yeah,
All right,
I wanted to ask the counselor. Counselor, your prescription for a better Liberia. What are your plans? What are those things that you want to do or that you will do when given the opportunity to make Liberia a viable society, a corrupt-free society, a society that will cater to the needs of its people? What are
So,
those things that you intend
I
to
have
do? Yeah.
a 10-point agenda for better Liberia that
Yes.
includes the 12-count prescription for combating corruption that I just summarized to you.
Mhm.
We will make sure that there's equal opportunities for all Liberians consistent with our constitution. All Liberians are equal. The corporation called Liberia is one in which everyone has equal share. Me and Moses Sandy and Volcano Shelton, including the president of Liberia, all have equal shares. And so we'll provide equal opportunity for everyone. We'll make sure that in combating corruption, we improve the education system to make sure that the young people of Liberia have full access to quality and free education, at least from pre-primary to secondary. And we improve tertiary education. We'll make sure that no one is left unattended because he or she does not have money to go to a hospital. We'll make sure that there will be full access to health opportunities but for all Liberians, both preventive health services and curative health services. And then agriculture. How can we will promote food self-sufficiency? Today, the According to all reports, including FAO report, out of every 100 bags of rice that is eaten in Liberia, only 20 bags are produced in Liberia. We do not build our highways unless we get loan from World Bank and then or gift through aid from World Bank, African Development, from the international organization. Yet Liberia is a very rich country, and the wealth is shown in the lifestyle of those who lead our country, including the president who built 47 condominiums opposite the Baptist Seminary before the end of 2018. And all other ministers under his government have been doing that. We'll make sure that what President Weah tried to pretend about youth development will be actualized on our administration. There are two ways to empower the youth: education first, and then sports and entertainment. Look, education is entitled when school is open, you see the children selling oil in the streets. You go to villages, the children are going on the farm with their parents. Education is not seriously promoted by this government. And any nation that wants to succeed has to emphasize education, because you have to prepare the future leaders and the future technocrats to lead the country. You know, what the Bible says, my people suffer because of lack of knowledge. So it's from the biblical time. And emphasis is now being placed on knowledge development, including technology and all of that. Our students cannot compare with students in the West African sub-region. They have computer lab, they have science laboratory, they have library, they have textbooks to go to schools. So sometimes when people say, oh, the Liberian students, even college graduates, don't write well. How you write well when you have not had one reader from ABC to 12? You have not seen spelling book. You are not. You know, when we go to school, how you used to read one paragraph and your teacher will correct you. Our students today don't have that opportunity. So, and we laugh at them. We should have empathy on them and try to improve the situation. Listen, sports. That one of the things that President Weah was elected for. President Weah is the only football legend that is president of a country. Volcano and Moses, I'm sure you are ashamed as a Liberian because you people used to cover sports program at Anthony Thomas Stadium at SKD. Yeah. Liberia has been declared unfit for hosting any international football because of the poor performance of President Weah in the area of sports. Also, Liberia is the only Monrovia country that did not go to the African Cup, that did not qualify again under President Weah. That's double shame. And President Weah cannot succeed in his area of expertise. Do we expect him to combat corruption? No, in fact, he himself is corrupt. He's stealing. I don't like to talk about corruption. He's stealing openly. And so everybody in his government is stealing because there's leadership by example. Okay. And so we don't expect him to succeed in the area of health, education, infrastructure, agriculture, and youth development, all of those areas that are dead. We have laws for that. We have great health laws, and they are not being implemented because, you know, and the example of whether we have good health system is JFK, the biggest hospital in the country. Go there. Even though it's supposed to be a government hospital, call to Liberia today. They pay a higher amount of money, and then when they enter the hospital, they say, go across the road to Lucky Pharmacy to buy gauze. Go across the road to buy syringe. Go across the road to buy this tablet. Go across the road to buy IV fluid. All of that. The worst thing is our security. The security of the ordinary people, and especially people in the area of journalism and audit and all of that try to point out some of the corrupt acts. You have seen under this government, more than any other government, auditors die mysteriously, and the explanation of the death of the auditors do not even make sense to even a teenager. This government is involved in killing of people, I can say as a lawyer, because the murder of that EPS officer in Tapeta was so clear. I went to Tapeta and I was informed by the people in Tapeta that they ran behind a man and killed him like they are running behind a deer in the bush. Then and they shot him dead. And then they came to Monterey and explained that this man committed suicide. And the story Moses, if you didn't follow it, cannot convince even a 5-year-old child, because they say Mr. Early shot himself in the leg, and after that he shot himself in the stomach. Then he said they were not enough. Then he shot himself in the head before he died.
But how possible can that be, Counselor?
After shooting himself in the leg, that's it. I mean, the people.
Then he had a compulsion to shoot himself in the stomach. Then after that, he said, "Now he shot himself in the head."
Shoot myself in the head.
But I know, growing up in the interior, when the brain fire and you're going with a barefoot, when you step off one fire truck, you'll be jumping like a frog, right?
Yeah.
So just the fact that the government deliberately distorted the story, the true story, that this man was killed by EPS. And when I became president, we set up a commission inquiry to inquire into all of the mysterious deaths, so that Liberian people can know the true story and for people to be held accountable. It will not go in vain.
Let me
We will not promote impunity in any way. And also, this thing about the president, Article 61 is the first amendment bill of the Constitution I'll put on the floor, because it promotes impunity on the part of the president. We should hold the president accountable, just like any other government official. So I'm a lawyer, I'll put an impeachment bill on the floor that the Article 61 that says the president cannot be prosecuted or held accountable for any act done by him in government unless he's impeached, unless he's removed from office, to be amended. Because, if you have the legislature as weak as it is right now, they will never impeach any powerful president who is in conspiracy with them eating our money.
Yeah, for Canada.
Thank you. So, Counselor, I'm not going to question you when it comes to.
I want to ask you. Ted Couple asked Mandela one question, and Mandela answered, and then he sat and so Mandela said, "Ted Couple, has my answer paralyzed you?" I heard you say, You were shocked by my answer, right?
No, you froze there. Yeah. No, you froze there. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, you are selling, Counselor. You're on course.
Yeah, but this conversation is going well. So again, I was about to say that I'm not going to question your education. I'm not going to question your qualification. And I'm not going to question your competencies. But I want to question your leadership. Because oftentimes we miss the word leadership. Today we have President Weah claiming to be the leader of Liberia. And I don't know where he held a job where he would manage a few people, but now he leads a country of more than 5 million. Somebody out there is wondering, who is Tiawan Gongloe as a leader?
Okay. So when I was executive assistant to Dr. Sawyer, that was an assistant to him. But I was a student leader too. 1980, I was president of the Nimba University Students Union at the University Student Association at the University of Liberia when the coup took place. And that time, the students at the university were seriously political. And I was there. And I made a decision, even people who serve as committee members under my administration jumped and took position in the military government. I said, I will not join the military government. I graduated and started working with the university, first as assistant institutional research officer in the office of the vice president of academic affairs. Then later on, I went as teaching assistant at the Department of Economics. And I enjoyed that work because some of the people I taught today, when I hear people say, what have you done for Liberia? Some of the people I taught today are leading Liberia today. The Vice President Joe Howard, like Justice Kabina Janet, like Justice Kappa, George Roosevelt, Willie of Criminal Code A, just many of them, even Bernie Samukai, all of them, I taught a lot of people. So I've made a major contribution. Then let me tell you, I'm a transformative person. When I got to Solicitor General office, this is what I did. Leadership means taking hard decisions. There was an underground jail at the Ministry of Justice. Some of you know it. I freed Sandoval, many people from that underground jail. I closed it. That's leadership. I took a decision to close it because I said that Justice Ministry cannot be anchored on cannot be anchored on injustice with people under the Ministry of Justice in a dungeon. So I closed it and put an office there. There's another thing I did at Ministry of Justice. From 1847 to 2006, all the county attorneys in the country except the one in Monrovia were always quack lawyers. Apprentices, they used to call them. Many of them were not even high school graduates. They got a job based on connection. So I changed that situation. Before I left the Ministry of Justice, I made sure that the 15 counties were manned by lawyers, law school graduates who were admitted to law practice and were vetted by me, recommended and appointed by President Saleh as county attorney. As I speak to you today, the county attorney of Lofa County is still there. He was recommended by me and he's still there. And there are many others. So that is leadership. That's why I made sure for the first time, county attorney never used to have government card. All the county attorneys, because they were qualified, were given, based on my recommendation, one twin cabin picker each, a laptop, a generator, and prosecution form to help them get the witnesses and carry on prosecution. Then when I got to the Ministry of, then I did one more thing. The Open Society came to me and said, we want to train your county attorneys, your prosecutors. I said, I don't have trainable prosecutors because I not changed. So what I did, I asked them for scholarship. In 2 years, they brought me 60 scholarships. Many of the lawyers today benefited from that initiative, brought the scholarship, and then I got people. And I don't say this sometimes, I just remember this one, something I've done. And many people from Justice Ministry, law students, all of them got on a scholarship. Many of them are prosecuted to do some of my private practitioners. When they see me, they say, thank you. Then I went to Ministry of Labor. As Minister of Labor, I emphasized Liberianization. Liberians were not employed. There were Lebanese store boys. You used to see it all over the place, even in supermarkets. I asked them to employ Liberians, they wouldn't do it. I increased the work permit fee for foreigners from $400 to $1,000 US. Immediately, they knew that when you got 10 foreign employees, you pay $10,000 a year, 1 year, then the next year you pay another. They reduced the foreign workforce and replaced them with so many Liberians. I increased employment for Liberia. That is leadership. And then I led by example. I didn't take any money from there. The Bar Association, from 1907, the bar was established. Rachel Herring, former President Charles D.B. King were all leaders of the bar. Counselor Vanishema, the late David Jala, Dean of Law School. All of these people never achieved what I achieved. Two things I will talk about. I was the first president of the bar to host an international conference since the bar was established in 1907. It was based on my leadership that was respected by the African bar that we hosted the African bar. And till today, nobody has beaten our record. The president of African bar, Hannibal Nwifo, stood up in Monrovia and said, nobody has hosted the convention of the bar equal to Liberia. This year, when he came to the installation of my successor, he said, we had the African Bar Convention last year in Niamey, but Niamey didn't come near Liberia. So Liberia stayed tapping. That was leadership. That was under my administration. Then I made sure that all members of the bar are licensed. Before you are licensed, you must be in good standing with the bar. That means you pay all your bar dues. You must also show that in the past year, you did 10 credit hours of continuing legal education to qualify you to improve. If you don't do that, you don't get licensed. And so the quality, and then that you have not committed any ethical transgression and been suspended. So the practice of law increased under my administration. Also because of the rigorous enforcement of bylaws for everybody to pay their dues. Some people from the Chief Justice, justices, everybody down, nobody was exempted. The bar is now self-reliant. We don't beg you would not beg USAID, UNDP, the NGOs anymore as we used to do to host our convention and assemblies. The bar has become self-reliant. Who made it self-reliant? My leadership, under my leadership. And so I can make Liberia self-reliant.
Okay. So,
yeah. Quickly, Thomas
go
Awaji
ahead.
has a question. I just want to put
Sure.
it since you mentioned the labor.
Yeah.
Thomas Awaji says here he wants you to touch on the abusive labor practices by foreign business owners in Liberia. How will you deal with that? If you recall, just the other day, Paul Kagame, president of Rwanda, deported 16 Chinese for bad labor practices against Rwandan citizens. And he said that that serves as a measure to let them know that Rwanda belongs to Rwandans. But it seems that though Liberians, or Liberia rather, is not a country that belongs to Liberians. It belongs to the foreigners. You go to Liberia, Nigerians carrying on, Ghanaians carrying on. I'm not saying they're not Africans, but they don't allow us to do those things when we go to the country. But they're all carrying on. Lebanese men carrying on, Indian men carrying on. And they tell you bragfully that uh, the government officials are in the pockets. And so there's nothing the ordinary Liberians can do. So even if they abuse them, whatever they do to them, it seems as though it's water waste on dog back. How do you address that, Mr. Gongloe, when you become president?
Let me tell you this. When, even in a town, when people know you are a strong father, nobody will touch even your pet. I ain't even talking about your children. So you have a leader that brings dignity and respect to the office of the president, putting Liberian interests first. That will cover all other areas, the attitude of people in their relationship to Liberians everywhere. Just as I say, I emphasize Liberianization and Ministry of Labor. I will not permit, I'm a human rights lawyer. I've been a prosecutor too. I teach criminal law. I will not allow violation of the rights of people. I will not allow any criminal conduct. You can bring your $1 billion to Liberia. We will not allow you to abuse the sovereignty of any Liberian citizen. We'll be strong on that. We'll take action. The law provides for deportation if you engage in something that is tantamount to racism. Because the reason Paul Kagame did that showed that those people who are treating Ugandans that way consider Ugandans to be less human beings than they were. And
you be Rwandans.
Yeah. In Rwanda, that they were higher than Rwandans, and every country, every president worth his salt or her salt has an obligation, not a choice, to put his citizens number one. It happens everywhere. It happens in the developed country like America. So the way I will govern, no one will even try that, because as a lawyer, I can justify a violation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, on the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, all of the covenants, including our own statutory laws, and I will justify my action. No Liberians will be respected in Liberia by Liberians and other people. I can tell you that. I will not be like President Joshua, who is consistent in a different way. You know what he said to people on Inauguration Day? He told us that Liberians will not be spectators in the economy. We thought he meant that Liberians would be given preferential treatment in their participation in the economy. But George Weah is consistent. Hear how he is consistent. In order to be a spectator, you have to enter the football field. But the rule at the gate in the economy is that Liberians are not permitted to enter the field. So if Liberians are not permitted to enter the field,
they can't be spectators.
People will be players. That is what is obtaining in Liberia. So he's consistent. But I'll be consistent in a different way. Let me tell you what I will do. The first preference for any contract in Liberia will go to Liberian companies. The foreign company will be the subcontractors. Today, Liberians are subcontractors to foreign companies. We will do it the other way. The foreign companies will be subcontractors to Liberian companies.
But let me hold you there quick. Let me hold you there. There's a tendency for Liberian companies to just come, get established to make quick money because they're on a cut deals.
It is skills too.
Yeah, and nothing comes out of it. So where would be where you're going to put some very strict measures in place that these companies will not be boogers, that these companies will have what is considered here insurance, fiduciary insurance that will hold them accountable when they go wrong, so that they can pay back for the liabilities?
Volcano, let me tell you, these companies are formed in corrupt ways. They are lawmakers. They are ministers. There are people in high office in the executive who are shareholders in companies. All right? They are shareholders in companies. So they get contracts to make money and not to perform. Who is going to yell at them when they don't perform? When those who should monitor them are shareholders in the companies. I am not going to allow anybody to do business and be in my government. That's clear conflict of interest. It's in my 10-point agenda that no, I will not tolerate conflict of interest to any degree, because it is conflict of interest that brings what you are talking about right now. It will not happen in my government, so I will not do business, and I'll be rigorous in enforcement of law. And if you take a company has, contracts have duration, and they have, different times. There are check marks on the way. At certain time, they should be achieved. All of that will be monitored. And if I don't have share in the company and I don't have any interest, I rigorously enforce the law. That's what I've been.
So Moses.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up.
He mentioned conflict of interest. That's
why.
That's good.
That's why I want to follow up with you. Yeah, Counselor. If you were president of the Republic of Liberia today, will you tell the world and Liberians that the Minister of Education will have no job by now? Because the Minister of Education, let me finish, Counselor.
Moses,
no way.
Leave it
Let me complete, Counselor.
Leave it with him.
The Minister of Education, the Minister of Health, she runs private clinics or hospitals, and you have the Minister of Education who runs schools. Significant, serious conflict of interest. Are you telling us that these people will not be no public officials in your administration? They will be out of government immediately?
They will not even enter government, because these people are running. The Minister of Health was running on clinic on AB Tubber Road.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm a lawyer in a case where she committed medical malpractice and killed one lady. Wow. So I'm a lawyer there. So she will not even be on one of the leaders. I say I will appoint not less than 50% of the women of the cabinet ministers will be women. But a woman who is conflicted will not be in my government in the first place. Mm-hmm. And number two, so that's why my own consistency will come like George Weah. So they will not enter government to even say they are in government, they have conflict of interest. The Minister of Education will not be, when parents are crying, graduation fee for kindergarten, but the Minister of School doing the same thing, so how will he stop that from happening? All right. The Minister of Health, when she became minister, again, she built additional hospital on the Marshall Road. So the COVID patients are living on that road. We were seeing the COVID patients just going there. They were getting so many COVID patients. That's conflict of interest, leaving all the other hospitals. Then I said, because I live in Liberia, I say you're living with me. I only want you to know. The Minister of Agriculture has a commercial rice farm. All right. She exposed that Lot 23, the one they call pellet rice, that red rice. She packages it and exports it abroad. She's involved in agriculture. In fact, she admitted she was accused of giving vehicles and other equipment meant for the Ministry of Agriculture to her brother. And she said as a lie. When the press her, finally she came on the air, because the lawmakers called. When the press she came on the air, she said, well, I want to admit that what I said the other day was not true, but I apologize to Liberian people. You will not keep your job. Because you see, it is qualification that brings you into government. The will of the president is motivated or is informed by your qualification and experience. The pleasure is the one that keeps you. If you engage in such flagrant abuse of office, you cannot be in my office. That's abuse of public trust. You will be dismissed and you will face investigation and prosecution. You account for it. Those kind of people should not be in the government.
Okay. So if you were George Weah today, what will you do to Deanna Brown, chair of the National Elections Commission? Similar conflict of interest.
Similar thing. I talk about it in Liberia.
Yes.
I talk about it in Liberia many times. Let me tell you this. Mm-hmm. She gave a contract to two of her brothers, one on the man side, one on the pa side.
Yeah.
I will not allow it to be that, because the law says you hold tenure based on good conduct, and you can be removed for cause. That is a cause for it to be removed for.
Yeah. So now, if
Moses,
this lady
Moses.
is not removed, what will happen come 2023 elections? NDC is an integrated entity, and you have a chair with such a cloud hanging over her. I'm sorry, Volcano. Let the councillor speak to that. Come 2023, we Liberians are looking forward for free and fair election, an election that will ensure that Tiawan
We have,
Gongloe, Counselor
we have
Gongloe is
raised we
elected.
have
What do you
raised the
think should
issue.
happen? Yeah.
We have raised the issue. But here
Mhm.
is it.
Yeah.
My legal status in my political party is limited right now.
Okay.
When I should have been elected standard bearer of the party,
Mhm.
but I hear there could be other contenders,
Okay.
then I will help the party to make a proper decision on that. I don't even want to make any comment on that before it prevents me from becoming a standard bearer.
Is that the Liberian People's Party, right?
Yeah, Liberian People's Party.
Okay.
All right, Counselor.
Yeah,
Just we
good.
want to go to
Good.
intermission right now.
Yeah.
If you just join us, we are
At
in
least
the
I made
issue
your
room
life a
here.
little bit.
Yes,
Yes,
you did.
so you can drink small water while we're doing the intermission. um, ladies and gentlemen out there, we want to thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We have another 30 minutes to go. We have presidential hopeful Counselor Tiawan Saye Gongloe of Nima County. He's here discussing with us here in the issues room, telling us about his vision and plans for Liberia and how he's going to change this country. A lot of good things he's been talking about here. It is easier said than done, in the
Yeah.
way he must talk and in the way he must
Yeah.
interpret things. But from all indications, if we go back into his record, he has
Yeah.
been
He has
emphatic
proven
with
that. Yeah.
everything here that no one can find any fault on him. So he's an open book. If you want to challenge the counselor, go right ahead. The issues room is here Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and rather 11 p.m. In Liberia or in the Greenwich time zone. For those of you our viewers in Australia, Asia, Europe, Africa, particularly Liberia, here in these United States and in South America, we say welcome tonight. Good conversation here. We're discussing the future of Liberia. We'll be opening the lines. The number is 404-272-2808. You will have the opportunity to speak with the counselor. So the number now is posted as we go along. Moses?
Yeah. And Counselor, now let's look at the
No, but I got
opposition.
problem with you. I got
Yeah.
problem
Okay.
with you.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
deal.
I'm a national figure. You guys say from Nima County. I
Oh,
already said about
Oh.
on Nima County. I don't like that
but
one. There.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
no,
Just
no, we are
looking for
sorry. We
where
are
I come
sorry,
Oh,
from.
Counselor.
yeah,
I said,
no, no, no.
I'm an outstanding citizen of Republic of Liberia.
Absolutely, Counselor.
And
We
you
All
and
we
you
under
and you're
respect
right.
that.
And
We
you're right. We
respect
were
that.
just talking about where you hail from because I have a question for you. Since you brought it up now, Moses, please hold your question, please.
Go ahead.
So I was in one conversation, counselor. The people say you're not popular in Nima. They say you do nothing there. Can you verify that?
You know,
They say even Prince Johnson is stronger than you.
yeah, that's their view. But I know that even my younger sister is much more popular in Nimba than Prince Johnson. So I'm not even talking about that. You know that Prince Johnson won election in you know uh, so it is not true. I am extremely popular. Look at where I went to school. I went to school in Tapeta, Ganta, Sanikole, Mela, different districts. So, and then I became president of Nimba University Student Association. If I was not popular, they would elect me, and the students come from all over the county. I represented Nimba people. When that university took place, there are over 60 persons in jail. And I went and five Hebrew couples along with now George Bassey. He was a lawyer at that time with five Hebrew couples, the free men. And then the 12 that remained, they took them to Buchanan, and I used to go to Buchanan, pay my own hotel bill, and I represented them free of charge. Those people are grateful to me. So it is not true. People who don't know me say I'm not popular in Nimba. But let me tell you, the last poll that was done in Nimba, let me tell you the result. You know the result? The last opinion poll. I'm going to tell you the result.
Yeah, tell
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Counselor Gongloe, 48. Joseph Baga 23, Georgia 16. Coming on a normal pan.
All right. Quickly, Moses, before you come in, we got
Yeah,
River
sure,
says
go
Pro on
ahead.
the line. River says
Yeah,
Pro on the line.
Mhm.
River says Pro, you've been missing, my man. Welcome to the issues room.
Yeah, my man, I don't know what happened. I used to be black, but then for some reason I didn't do
Oh
anything. It
man.
makes me alone. I just got in, so I don't know. It
All
was a
right. Welcome, my
technical.
man. We got enough time with the counselor.
Okay.
He's here. You got a question for him?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Counselor Gongloe. You're a great man. I heard about you. I read some of your profile, and who loved your presidential bid. But I have a question concerning Nima County. I got a lot of friends here.
Counselor,
Uh,
are you hearing him?
I'll listen to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
okay.
Go ahead.
So I got a friend here from Nima County in Iowa, which is Gil. And he told me about this Gil Bell and Mano Bell when it comes to voting. And he swore he will put money on it that your sister wasn't going to win because the Mano Bell is not vote rich. And considering, he said, according to him, yeah, your sister mismanaged development fund. She seriously misappropriated development fund. So the Nima County people will not forgive her for that. That's one of the reasons that she lost in her own county. So with that said, do you think that stigma on your sister will have any impact on your campaign, or will it have any impact on your election? I mean, on your presidential bid in Nima County? Will it hinder it? That's my question.
Thank you, River says Pro. Let's give the counselor the opportunity. Go ahead, counselor.
Okay, so there's no stigma on my sister because Johnson Sirleaf government, Georgia government have all competent prosecutors to prosecute. If there was something, they will prosecute her. So there's no stigma on her. And someone who won election 3 times and came second place, and simply because she did not have money to put watchers at every polling station, cannot be said that she's unpopular. She won with a lot of people, including former superintendent, former senators, and all that, and she will always come in second, very close second. So how can someone say she's unpopular? But let's assume she was even unpopular. Let's assume she has stigma. Will you engage in collective guilt? Every individual accounts for his conduct on earth and in a lawful society. So that is not an issue.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Moses.
Yeah, so Councillor, now let's come to the opposition. Winning the presidency of Liberia would take a lot of work, collaboration. Is Councillor Gongloe, given the comparison that you have made, who you are, where you stand, if you went to elections, unfortunately you came second, or
I
there's
mean,
second
third.
round you came third or second place or whatever. Is Councillor Gongloe willing to collaborate with other politicians and get into the highest office?
I told you, Paul, I would not answer certain question before it caused my becoming standard bearer. I don't know what my party position is on that issue. But all I can tell you, I'll put Liberia first. I'm going to a competition that there are other contenders. Suppose they hold a different view. Nobody come in and say, oh, Councillor Gongloe say he will collaborate. That means he really not serious about getting the standard bearer. Me, I want to run on LPP for LPP to take power. So I'm not going to go there. All I can tell you, I will put Liberia first. And I will talk to my party on the prescription and the 10-point agenda, and we'll go there. It's not about me. I don't even want to be president because anybody who thinks they want to be president, something is wrong with them. Liberia is not a country, it's not a normal country now for somebody to say they'll be president for the pomp and pageantry that is associated with presidency. Me, I want to be a project manager for fixing Liberia, for transforming Liberia to become a better country.
We have a call on the line from Ontario.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Leo Johnson?
Yes.
Welcome to the issues room. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, Shelton.
Man, I've been trying to get you, but I guess you're too busy. Anyway, you're here in studios with us.
I'll reach out.
Yeah. I'm sure you want to engage Counselor Gongloe, right?
Yep, correct.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I have two questions. The first question is for someone like Counselor Gongloe, who prides himself in transparency, rule of law, fair play.
Leo, sorry. Let me just tell this caller. Okay,
loud.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying for someone like Counselor Gongloe, who has kept a stellar reputation overall for the rule of law, transparency, fair play, I'm just wondering, what are the finances of his political party? Because the election law requires that political parties produce financial reports for us to see where they get their funding. Because, for example, foreign funding is not allowed in our elections and so on. So I'm wondering, can Councilor Gongloe let us know the structure of his party when it comes to financial accounting and reporting, and exactly where can we find that, if anything? My second question is around the issue of the progressives. I struggle to hear the progressives tell us that they struggle for equal justice, economic justice, and all of that, which many of them were actually right and they did a lot. But I've never heard them admit that they were ill prepared for the kind of change that ensued and got it totally wrong in terms of where they headed our country. And we still have a corrupt constitution that says members of the PRC can never be prosecuted for any crimes that they were committing. So can Councilor Gongloe speak? How do we expect a good governance to come out of a corrupt constitution which reflects less than 25% of the population?
Thank you, Leah.
So, there's something about impossibility, because he is saying that the constitution is corrupt. It came out of a corrupt regime, which means even he himself will not want to compete for any position in Liberia. We want to solve a problem. We win election and we look at the impurities in the constitution. There are ways to amend the constitution. You cannot state that kind of impossibility. I don't participate in discussions like that, because there's no problem in the world that cannot be resolved. And now he says some of the progressives are good and they mean well and they did well. The one that didn't do well, he didn't name them, and probably when he named them, they will account for their conduct. He says the progressives were not prepared. The progressives were always prepared and are prepared today. I've been prepared since the 70s, and I've demonstrated it by going to government and serving well. Everywhere I serve with distinction. I didn't even apply. I didn't look for a job. I never looked for a job. This is probably the first one I'm looking for in my life. So, and I resigned from the government when I felt that the government was not proceeding consistent with the principle that I believe in. And I'm not sure whether...
Councilor, did you just say that all of the progressives did well, or were prepared rather, or some of them?
Look, he said some were good.
No, he said
some were not prepared. He said it. So he didn't identify the one that are not prepared. I'm not going to talk about the one that are not prepared. That's not my business. I can only account for myself.
All right. So let me just ask you this question. If you consider where our country is today, I just came from Liberia in May. I was depressed over what I've seen. You struck one of the most key and cardinal issues in your discussion here tonight, the lack of rule of law. And that's the one that boils my blood every day in that country. The country is a place of anarchy. No one cares and everyone does what he or she wants to do. And until we can reset the rule of law, even you won't be able to fight corruption. And so I think the rule of law is where it begins, when people can respect systems and policies in place. And I'm very big on policy. I'm very big on implementation of rules and regulations. Where do you begin with that? Because that's the burning issue. It's not corruption, because it starts from there.
Thank you for validating the fact that I chose rule of law as one of the cardinal points on my agenda for a better Liberia. I said that in the first 100 days, it's in my agenda, I will issue an executive order that any minister or official of government that interferes with police operation, undermines it, obstructs it, and do anything that affects the professional operation of police will be immediately dismissed, because I don't want to compromise rule of law. But there's a flip side. I don't want to give police a carte blanche to do whatever they want to do. From George Floyd experience, everyone learned that police can distort sometimes. So In that executive order, I'll put that Liberians have a right to monitor police and to film police officers when they are in operation, so they can check on police because they serve the people, they are servants of the people. If we get police operating professionally, not taking bribe and not being influenced by top people in government, that rule of law in the street will be respected. Like how when you leave the Kennedy airport and get in the street in America, you know that there is law and order. We'll do that. All right. So that is what we'll do. We'll do the same thing for the judiciary. There will be no interference in the independence of the judiciary. When we have the law enforcement officers working professionally, independently, without influence, and we have the court also independent, then we have the rule of law domain actually working. It is that will create a framework for us to combat corruption and to build the economy, because investors will come, Liberians will be able to invest in an atmosphere that is free of chaos. Because, lawlessness promotes conflict, and so I'm happy that, and please promote this rule of law agenda on your radio continuously.
It is always one of the most important things.
You talk about that all the time.
And let me say, I didn't answer one of the previous callers' question on campaign financing. That's a requirement that the Election Commission that has, and will meet it. So I'm not yet at that point. My party, I'm not even an official of my party, so I can't speak of my party finances at this point. It's a premature question.
So he also someone here asked quickly about the strength of your party in terms of numbers, partisans or members.
We are still recruiting and expanding our partisanship, so I can't talk about definite number at this point, but I can tell you that LPP is going to be a leading party in Liberia. It was banned in 1984, and since that time, we are not really recovered from that time. But the party was a party that probably its members could not fit in one room. But President Salif came, and the party became a leading party. It takes an individual to lift a party up, and I'm going to lift LPP up and make it number one party in Liberia.
Okay. Thank you. Moses?
Yeah. Counselor, now let's look at I really hate to use this description. These are at-risk youth in the country that we refer to as the Zogos. And these are individuals who come from the community affected by drug and alcohol addiction. How do you intend to tackle this problem in Liberia?
Good question. I've already done our homework. My office is located on Ashman Street, that is inhabited by a lot of Zogos. I talked to them. And you know what they told me? I talked to the ones on Ashman Street, I talked to the one on Broad Street, I talked to the one on Gurley Street, and the one on Center Street. Go to Monrovia. These are the main areas.
Yes.
Each of them told me, Counselor Gongloe, at different times, though, we want to be rehabilitated and given skills. I said, I will do it for you when I become president. So they are my supporters. Right now, when they see me, they say, Counselor Gongloe, we're waiting, we'll support you. They want rehabilitation and they want skills so they can be productive citizens again. Because, and when they become productive citizens, we're fighting corruption. While we are fighting corruption, we'll be strengthening the economy. One of the executive orders I will issue in the first 100 days is to say there will be no export of round logs from Liberia. There will be only sawmills and furniture factories. We will give tax incentive to people to staff to do the best furniture in Liberia, and the Liberian government under my administration will buy no imported furniture, because that's where our comparative advantage is. We got 43% of the tropical forest in West Africa, more than Nigeria, Ghana, Africa all combined, and we have some of the exotic species there. Instead of wasting it, Moses and Volcano, if you bend to Buchanan Port, go 1 mile away from Buchanan Port, you will see rotting logs that were placed there 4 or 5 years ago. When they didn't find buyers, they just let them get rotting. Even the one that OTC caught, they're rotting there. Go to Port of Greenville, the same thing. But if the government had said only sawmills, when you saw timber, they don't get rotting like that. They are preserved and they get higher value. They will create jobs. And anytime you put your furniture, furniture factory, or any factory 50 miles away from Monrovia, you will get a tax reduction. Through that, we will get companies all over the country, in Cape Town, in Grand Cru, in Sino, in Vanjama, in all the areas. And when we do that, here is the incentive. These boys that will be trained will be going to the country. Some of them will work for those companies. But the inhabitants of those areas, the young people will get jobs too, working with the various companies that got a tax incentive. Government will collect revenue from income taxes made by the employees. Then the money they earn will also have multiply effect that government will collect another tax fund, because the house owners now will get rents paid, they will be getting income, and they will pay their real estate and lease taxes to government. Then the owners of real estate will go to the market to buy goods from the people in the market. The people in the market will have money, they will pay their own taxes to government. It will keep going. It will have what they call in economics multiplying effect, endless multiplying effect on the economy. And there will be a social benefit too. The social benefit is that they will slow down the rural urban migration, which is taking place today, because everybody comes to Monrovia for greener pasture. And when they come to Monrovia, they can't find a job, no place to live, they can't find food, and their friend tell them, let's go to the ghetto so we can forget your problem. When they go to the ghetto, they get addicted to drugs. The next thing, when they don't take drugs, they are ashamed and scared to commit crime. But when they take drugs, they start committing robbery, armed robbery, jacking things from people in the street and doing all those things. And then they remain on the drug. So we will rehabilitate them, strengthen the economy to provide avenues for jobs and reduce crime rate by doing that.
Thank you. Let me quickly ask you this question. When did the desire to become president of Liberia come to you? Was it the other day? Was it been a lifelong thing? Or is it because of the current prevailing situation you see with our people and you think that you can be the best instrument of change? And if that be the case, do you have some international partners already identified? Because what we find here is that Liberia seems to be insulated today. This sitting president, all the noise the people were making, the CDC, the man's a millionaire, the man got friends in Paris. If all the BB footballer will come to bring money to Liberia, France President Macron, that the man's best friend, so all of these things, we don't see anything. The Macron man has not even shown up to Rousing the National Airport because it's so dark. Tiawan, Counselor, my big brother, when did you decide to be president? And do you have international partners out there to help?
So my parents trained me very well, very disciplined, honest, and I've been preparing my whole life to serve my country in any way, outside government, inside government. So I just prepared myself, ready. I was a good executive assistant to Dr. Sawyer, writing speeches for him, traveling and helping to make policies. I was a good solicitor general. I was a good minister. And so I've been prepared to serve my country. I am ready. And there is nobody today who is running that can boast like the way I speak about my character. That's how Liberians should be, to be prepared to serve. So yes, people have been talking to me, but the urge to serve is more accentuated today because Liberia is in ICU. If Counselor Gongloe does not step forward, I'll be doing injustice to my conscience and to my country. I can never betray my country. I am stepping forward now because I need to do something to rescue Liberia from going down. And I will win. Take it from me. I will beat Georgia 65% first round. You see what happened the other day on the 17th anniversary? I watched it from here. There were more cars at CDC compound than human beings. They are forgetting about him now.
So
international, you talk about international. I don't like to promote dependency. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, from what I know, as someone who works in the policy machinery, what happens internationally depends on what you do domestically. If you govern well, you will have friends all over the world coming to your aid to help you with money and with technical advice and all of that. If you don't govern well, nobody will come near you. So I already have the credentials. Look, people do lobbying to go to State Department and paying lobbying firms to get away. Counselor Gongloe came in the country, they're poor man. Who would say the man not going anywhere because he's poor? Liberians pay my way to come here. I don't get money. They pay my way to come here. Since I came, I've gone to so many states. But Liberian people who live here sending me because they believe that I'm qualified. I am the person who can take Liberia to a better stage, to a better situation, to make a better country. So I've been in the State Department. I had over an hour of valuable conversation with the State Department that I cannot disclose. Some of the one that should be disclosed is already in the public domain. But I really, really felt confident with my discussion there. Some people who are contending have not been to State Department. You saw my picture with the you saw my
You were in the photo.
you saw my picture with the DC, Washington DC city mayor, that powerful city mayor who was well known for the George Floyd situation and challenged our own president over George Floyd. The sitting president has not been to Washington DC. This aspiring, not even candidate, have been to Washington DC. You ain't see me that I'm special. All the people who got money have not been to the State Department. I've been there. I'm paid once, and no lobbying firm is supporting me. So I've seen city mayor in Minnesota, Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. I went to North Dakota. I met with the Trade Commission. I know what we discussed about the future of Liberia. So forget about that one there. So we're an international human rights lawyer, somebody that I knew all over the world. When Taylor did what he did to me, didn't part of it lead to his leaving power? I was here in America.
Yeah. So, Counselor, just to piggyback on what you said, given where you've been and who you've been talking to, are you in any way implying that with all this support that you have gotten in recent times that the United States stands with Counselor Gongloe?
I have never implied that. I am
you've been holding some high level talks.
No, don't get it wrong. Holding meeting with people, no American government official, even at the local level, that the city government of Brooklyn Park or Brooklyn Center supports me. But all it means is that before they open door to you, they go on the internet to read who is this person I should have audience with. All I'm saying, I can open the doors. But no, I would never directly or indirectly even imply that anybody in the government of America supports me. That is, I'll be lying, I'll be betraying my conscience, and I'll be saying something that is totally untrue and goes against international standards. No. You know that even when the American ambassador says something positive about me in Monrovia, then the inquiry came out and said, oh, the American government recognizes Counselor Gongloe as the only man of integrity in Liberia. I told them this is wrong, but the American embassy immediately refuted that and said, we mentioned Counselor Gongloe's name, but we didn't say that because they cannot participate in local politics. Wrong. Can't influence it.
Let me come in quick, Counselor Gongloe. You have bragged about your integrity, and there's a lot of people who also do the same for Omen Boakai, Joseph Boakai, that they can't point to corruption. Do you think the two of you could pair to make Liberia a corrupt-free society?
You're asking me the same question you asked before. I know you journalists. I told you I'm not a standard bearer of my party. I'm still.
Whether you go independent or
listen, I'm not running as an independent. I want to run on LPP candidate. I will never run as independent candidate for presidency of Liberia.
Okay, that's clarified.
I'm an institution person. So whatever the party decides in the future, I'm a party president. I'll go by it.
So, Counselor, let's go to the national legislature briefly and look at some of the legislators there, especially opposition politicians who are in the legislature. Last weekend, 5 lawmakers, including your own brother Johnson Gongloe from Nima County, endorsed the candidacy of George Weah and joined the CDC. Counselor Gongloe, giving your narration of what is happening in today's Liberia, are you disappointed with Johnson Gongloe?
I told you I teach human rights law and I've been a human rights advocate all my life. How can I question somebody's choice?
Yeah.
One of the fundamental things in life, you have a right to make your choices. Whatever you do, the consequences are there in the future for other people, people evaluate you. That one is left with you. So
Yeah.
I decided to join LPP. Somebody said, why you join LPP? Should somebody tell me why I joined LPP? No.
No, but
Decisions.
I'm
Let me
actually,
tell you
yeah,
this.
go ahead.
Let me tell you this.
Yeah.
That they're right. And all the people who joined CDC, even
Mhm.
all the lawmakers today, the 103 of them joined CDC, that they're right. But they don't determine who will become president. It's the Liberian people that
That,
will determine who will
but
become president.
yeah, but Counselor, my question is this: uh, wo- members of the national legislature represent Liberia's national interest. You have a legislature that is underperforming. You have an executive that is underperforming. You have a judiciary that is underperforming. And you yourself, you even spoke about the selective enforcement of the rule of law in Liberia, brazen corruption, and you have individuals who represent Liberia's national interest endorsing such administration. That's what I ask you as opposition politician. Are you disappointed that people that were elected by Liberians that's supposed to be champion national cause are in fact, have chosen to put their national ego, their personal ego, that of above that of the country? Are you disappointed by that?
It doesn't change my answer.
Okay.
The Liberian people will decide on election day whether they like the action that you refer to.
Okay.
If the action that they took are
Mhm.
action that are popular with the voter will decide. Have you forgotten that in 2017,
Mhm.
19 lawmakers, 19 senators, including the current president pro tem, decided to support one candidate?
Okay.
So, it doesn't change anything. Even with all of that, the Liberian people will vote for me.
Okay.
Well, Counselor, we're going to put two more questions in and let you go. I know you are a
Being
very
very
busy man.
busy.
Your
Yeah.
agenda is tight. But my question here to you, Counselor, um, it seems as though you're very comfortable and confident in what is trending in Liberia, and you said that you will win first round, 63%.
65,
65.
he said.
65.
65.
Well, okay.
Don't reduce the number.
I forgot to. But if you went 63 cents a landslide, so what
65.
more you
Yeah,
wanna?
he gonna be young.
Yeah. But let's go with your 65%.
Yeah.
Why are you so confident in your number, and why are you confident that you will win first round elections in Liberia?
I know my strength. Shakespeare said, know thyself. Me, I know myself. I've lived in Liberia long time. I've been engaged with the issues in Liberia. I've been criticizing. I've been teaching. You know me. I've been teaching at the police academy before. Even the male police director now, I taught him. I teach magistrates. I teach people who have become judges and order. I know Liberian problem. I've taught Liberian leaders. I've been in Liberia doing workshop I know my society, and I know that I got so many. Majority of the voters are for me. They tell me silent voters say, "Hey, that the president was looking for." That what they can tell me. In America, everywhere I go, I just told you, I'm a poor man. You know my music. If you got it, there, play. I'm not a millionaire. I can make it happen. Don't overlook me because I'm wearing top papa. That means I can tell you that I'm going to win. And I have this broom as a symbol of what I want to do for Liberia. You see the broom? Will sweep corruption. In fact, in Philadelphia, 2 days ago, a group of young people say, Counselor Gongloe, we name the broom Operation Sweep Corruption for Liberia. And they are printing their t-shirt, their hat, and handkerchief now with my picture on it, Operation Sweep Corruption for Liberia. That's what we need. That is, corruption is the thing that is stopping Liberia from developing. So we'll sweep it. And all of the corrupt will sweep them along with the corruption.
You're gonna clear it. So
Moses,
Counselor, from my end
Moses,
quickly. Yeah.
Moses,
Mm-hmm.
just before you put in your last question, let me just bring this guy quick, and then you
Sure.
close the show.
Sure.
Philip Woods, is Philip Woods there?
Sure. Philip Woods?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank, yeah, I'm here.
You got to
Yeah.
lower your monitor. You're listening to yourself, and that's what you get in the feedback. Just lower your monitor and talk.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank the issue room for the splendid interview.
Thank you.
I want to thank the counselor, our project manager, for a change in Liberia, for a job well done. His message is clear, it's very consistent. If we want change in our country, this is the man we need to work with. If Liberia need a change for good in Liberia, we need to work with Counselor Gongloe. So I want to use this opportunity to really call on all Liberians within Pennsylvania, within nearby New Jersey and Delaware to please show up on June 26th at the Victory Harvest International Church so that they can be able to interact with this project manager of Liberia, Counselor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. I want to thank you very much for this opportunity, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moses?
Yeah, so
last caller quick. Let me take
oh,
the
okay,
last
yeah,
caller.
go ahead.
The caller from Texas,
Yeah.
8849.
Yeah, Celto.
Yeah, we're running out of time. Just go ahead quick.
Oh, this is Celto Conway. I was in Liberia just a few weeks ago, and I can tell you, Liberia right now is in an emergency room. And I'm begging everybody I honor my voice to work with Counselor Gongloe. I mean, you have someone that have a history for 40 years of consistency, of honesty, integrity. That is the person we need to clean Liberia. I'm urging everyone right now on my voice to support him, because we can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I mean, if you go to Liberia is very depressing. And with him, a better Liberia is possible. I thank you.
Thank you, Moses.
And let me just say,
yeah,
Mr. Setu about 40 years, for 78, 44 years now.
Okay. Yeah. So, Counselor, this final statement and question, there are several Liberians who believe that Mr. Weir represent what they call the tyranny of democracy because he's grossly incompetent. He doesn't understand political governance. He has no clue in terms of what is happening in the country. And yet you have told the world that if given the opportunity, you will whip George Weah by 65%. And you sound so you sound so, confident, overly confident. Are you overly confident because Mr. Weah is grossly incompetent?
No.
But then why you think you're going to beat him by 65?
You see, because you visit Liberia, I live in Liberia. I go over, I hear the cries of the people, and
Okay.
I'm one of those who serve as Shaka Zobo in Liberia, helping the poor, small things here and there. You know, so they know me. You know, sometimes before I leave, let me even say this. People say, "Oh, what have you done?" Me and my sibling built one building in Glazope, a library and auditorium. Is more than when people get there and we put our father, the late teacher Gongloe statue right in front of it in the village. When people get there and say, "Why you build a kind of thing here?" We build it on the government school campus. It's for the people of the town. It's not a commercial school. We're not making any money out of it. We are trying to put solar system there. If anybody wants to help, you can help. We put in solar system there, and Costa, Mr. Henry Costa, gave us 10 computers that will take to Glazope, and the children in Glazope will have access to computer to see how computer look before they come on the road. So we are doing, and that's all I can do, because me, I'm a poor man lawyer. I don't have much money. I put a small ferry on the road, on the river between Bon County and Nimba in the town of Lintwine, between Kwaipa and Lintwine. It helps the people across, because when they're using the dog, our canoe, a lot of people die in that place. So we're helping here and there. But my own strength that to help poor people with their cases, that to teach, and I've been doing that. And because of my intervention in the lives of people, They are all for me, all over. Don't mind the few people who talk here and there, but you don't expect people in the country to, for 100% of the people to love you anyway. But the silent majority are in my favor. And you will see it on election day. We'll make sure that election is transparent. We're calling upon the international community, everyone in the international community, even you journalists, to all be in Liberia and be at all the polling stations on election day to make sure that what comes out as result of the election actually and truly reflects the intentions of the Liberian voters. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Any last word for the Liberian people? Diaspora
But
in Liberia?
that's my last word there. I ain't getting any
Okay.
more last word.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Counselor. Thanks for the opportunity, man. It was good conversation. We'll invite you here again as the fever start to grip you.
Even no, I'll be telling you about the successes because and I'm here. I've been to Atlanta, Columbus, Ohio, all the places I mentioned, and I still have the people in California are calling me to go there. So my people put in a schedule for me to go to California. I'm going to Iowa. I'll be going to Massachusetts. All these different areas. And while I'm doing that, I'm in America teaching 2 courses in Monrovia. Every morning I wake up 4 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock in Monrovia. I teach by Zoom, and my students are happy with me. That's discipline. I'm achieving that. If somebody said that not contribution to my country, then something is wrong with that person.
Of course, there is. That's a significant contribution. Oh, but what Counselor wanted to say thank you. It was a pleasure having you, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it was great conversation, man. Listen,
it was indeed.
I think the way Counselor Gongloe presents himself, the confidence, the degree of confidence, tells you that when a man says, "Go and check on me," go everywhere, dig deep, you will find nothing. And I think Moses, he actually laid some prescriptions here tonight.
Absolutely.
He articulated well,
He did.
particularly the lack of rule of law. And that's why I thought to come back with that question, because I wanted him to see how it ties in with corruption.
Mhm.
Because when people feel they can do anything, just take the people money and dance buka, I mean, then
and do anything and act like you don't even know what is happening around.
Yeah, you're dancing buka and strutting your shoulder. But that shoulder you strutting tomorrow, you bring it down when the handcuff come behind your back.
But look, and Volcano, the counselor said it. He said, "Look, when I become president, we'll take a re-look at Article 61 that says that, hey, as former president, whatever you did, we let it go. No, we will amend that law." And then you did talk about,
I talked to asking the question because the question has to do with how a man says he fighting and riding on corruption, being his enemy number one, and he gets there and see all the $1 million. He big grips coming to his room or coming to his office. When he changed, and he was very clear and emphatic. He said it was never his response from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to be in his boom at the age of 65. But anyway, how much and she still was corrupt.
But I like his prescription for fighting graft in the public sector, where when you enter government after a certain time, and then they see all these things happening in your life overnight.
You mean
extravagant
things?
Yeah, they say, you know what? Let's have a conversation with this man. You ain't $10,000 a year, but now we see that you're driving a $65,000 SUV. Help us understand what's going on here. You did it when you declare your assets. You never told us that you had $200,000 in the bank. You earn $10,000. It implies that you cannot afford $65,000 SUV. So what you do today should be able to tell people, whether you are living above or below your income. And that's that would be a very important way,
That would be a critical example of Nathaniel McGill, who's building a mausoleum for his mom.
So what built his mausoleum? Yeah, he built a mausoleum for his mom.
Just came to government. There's a man who was passing around with no money. He in fact started selling jobs before the people even got a job, according to the story. Then he went away, claim that he credited loan. How you gonna credit loan? You even got your government even come to power, you know. But
Yeah.
all of these things, people have done it over time, and it seems as though this is all that will continue to plague our country. But I think that the people listening tonight, some of the political figures that's now in the opposition, should be very, you know, committed to listen to Counselor Gongloe. They should be listening, because I think he has a strong message.
He has good agenda.
This is not practice. This is not rehearsed. This is something that he's lived throughout his professional life, you know, and so the record's there. So
he has an agenda. He knows exactly what he wants to see happening in Liberia. So he's not going to come thinking, oh, well, nobody told me no. He knows exactly what he wants, and you're going to start pushing that from day one. That is what he said. And over the years, he has been able to demonstrate that he has credibility. A man said, check me up. You know?
So just before we go, I know we wanted to bring that in the trending news. So since we're still in studio and we still have our audience here tonight, let's quickly talk about these guys who's crossing carpet now from the legislature, particularly the Senate. Johnson Guerrero,
the Senate
Killer,
they are from the House of Representatives and the Senate.
Yeah. Okay. Combined.
Yeah. So we have 5 lawmakers. Someone came from Maryland County, Grand Cape Mount County, and some other counties. To see 5 opposition lawmakers joining the CDC. Not only joining the CDC, but also re-endorsing the candidacy of George Weah for 2023. And you heard the councilor, you heard the many callers, you heard people that you have spoken to. When you went to Liberia, you saw what is happening there. Someone would call from Texas said, when you go to Liberia, the country, the state of affairs in the country is depressing. And you have people in the House of Representatives paid by the taxpayers of Liberia, quote unquote opposition. They said, well, this is the man that we want.
Very insensitive.
Very insensitive
to the plight of the people. Very insensitive. And let me understand something here. So these guys, they've already won the seat. I think it's for 8 years. So they're not going to be in the 2023 race. So they may be free to go along with this with we if he won the presidency, right?
No, I may not be definitive about that, but I do know that some may be up for re-election. Some may be up for re-election,
and some
may stay longer. Some may stay longer.
Cross over 2023 into few more years.
Yes, some may. But what I can't really wrap my head around, Volcano, in the United States, let's use the United States, because everything we do in Liberia is parting after America, right? In the United States, we have what? 2 political parties, prominent political parties, Republicans and Democrats, right? The differences between these two is that you have one that is labor, that hey, we offer changes, and the other is for say what? We maintain the status quo, the Republicans. They are the conservatives. They don't want no change. They want things to remain as they are. That's what makes them Republican. So do you see a Republican lawmaker coming to endorse the Democrats? They have what? The distinctions between the two, the perspective from which they see things. So if you went on ANC party, you went as a candidate of the Alternative National Congress, that means that you and the CDC don't see things the same way. Then when they make the decision that, hey, that is not measuring up, it's time for me to become CDC.
All right, so listen, our professional colleague and brother Geraldine Matthew P.I. said only Simeon Tiller will not be out for re-elections.
Yeah.
The other four will be. So because Simeon just won that seat.
Yeah, Simeon just won.
He won that seat alongside with Brownie Samuel, not Brownie. What's his name? Was it Dylan's time, or was it Brownie's Samuel time? Okay, but
was that? But that would be that.
You'll say it was recent.
Yeah.
But again, listen, man. I think Counselor Gongloe said it all. He said that people have the right to go where they want to go.
Yeah.
Well, it's on their conscience, but I guess they fail to realize. And I think where all of these guys are going now, they think that the disintegration of the CPP, it means that the opposition have no stand. The oppositions will be, not a formidable force. But I think they're making a mistake because this field is still open. It's still open. It's wide. There's nothing here narrowing the gap. I don't care what anybody says, and I'm very much, would support Councillor Gongloe's interview here tonight and his declaration of 65% in one round. But I know that with the elections in Liberia and where we are, and it almost seemingly impossible to do one round, but we can't rule that.
You can't rule it out.
High possibility. But even at that, I don't see anyone narrowing the gap yet or has a permanent and comfortable lead, irrespective of what is trending with regards to the disintegration of the CPP. And we are gaining momentum based on some of these guys crossing carpet. But again, those people, their votes are not enough to cross anyone over the hump. It would be the electorate.
It's going to be a competitive process. Yeah.
Yes. The millions of Liberians. So Gerald Limek again tried to, so I think I was in that lane. So it was Delon, Samuel Kai, Simeon, Board Charles during that election of when Simeon won.
Yeah.
So it means he relatively new. So he should have.
He knew in the Senate.
Few several more years to go. But again, Moses, this is where we are. We can hold this conversation Friday, maybe do more research. Maybe there will be more people to cross carpet, and it will be a good conversation. But you know what? Let me just extend an invitation to Gerald Limek tonight.
Yeah,
Mr. Pierre, we will want to have this conversation on Friday, since in fact you seem to have more knowledge about it and the crossing carpet of these guys. So you will be hearing from us momentarily, with an invitation to come and join us here to be a discussing
so we can talk
on Friday. So we can talk about this, because this is another important conversation to hold with people now. Apparently some people seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, believing that we are going to be president 2023. That's why they're crossing. So we'll reach out to you, sir. Moses, let's call it a night.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say it was a pleasure being here in the issues room, and great show, great presentation, good delivery by the counselor, and we look forward to coming back on Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join us on Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 p.m. Liberia or the Greenwich time zone. We'll be back here, God's willing. Volcano Shelton here. Follow us, like us. You can catch us on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Facebook. Again, our fan base is expanding. We had to shut down our other page because of compromise, and we started the TI room. So a lot of you from my personal page, because I had almost 5,000 people, I've sent you invitation. Please look for a TI room and accept it, and follow us. We appreciate it. Spread the word. This is the platform to be. We are the alternative here on social media. We're bringing the real people, the real guests, the real discussants, professional experts to look at and review the content and tell you, our Liberian people and our partners, where Liberia is and where we're going. Good night.